And anything important in the nature is going to be said repeatedly, over and over and over. We're going to see the same repeated message. So that's what we look for in a chart, the themes that show what's really important to the person. But everybody has all 12. No one's missing anything. To say that someone is a sun sign is just total nonsense. Everybody has some of all 12, and we have to do a kind of juggling act to make room in our life for all 12. Because anything we deny, anything totally blocked, denied, is going to make trouble for us. We have to be a whole person eventually. And the problem for most of us is there are real conflicts between some of these different sides of life. So if we do some of them to their fullest extent, there are others we can't do at the same time. Two solutions to that are either to take turns with these different desires, do them alternately, or we can stay in the middle and have a little bit of several. Those are both good solutions. Compromise in most cases works a little bit the best, so we do a little bit of several. But if we want to be all out, if we want to specialize, if we want to be outstanding in any area, then for the moment we have to neglect other things. We can't do it all at once to its fullest extent. It's just not possible. So that's the juggling act of life. And astrology just helps us to see in our basic nature what's more important, and also where our conflicts are. They will show in the chart where our harmonies are, that are talents to be carried further. And then the timing as we go on through life, it helps us to see at which times we're facing certain issues in our life, certain areas of life that we have to handle. And what we do with that obviously is up to us. Chart does not give us the details of the life. That they depend on what we do. But it does show the driving psychological principles that are behind our actions. So another way to say it is, it doesn't show us what will happen, it shows us why in terms of our own nature, and when in terms of the timing of having to face the different issues. So it's a little bit like having the curriculum for your school year. This week we're studying geography, and next month it's going to be history, and another month it's going to be more emphasis on math. So it's the same kind of thing, dealing with these different sides of life and learning how to cope. Now the ways that don't work very well in handling these conflicts, which are inherent in life, I call them the dilemmas, but everybody's facing the same dilemmas. Each chart will just have its own unique emphasis. And the ways that don't work very well are, one is repression. That's when part of us is buried in the subconscious and we just ignore it. And subconscious runs the body. So if it gets too clogged up with negative emotions, it tries to get our attention with body symptoms. I really like saying, I'm not happy, do something. And if we can uncover whatever it is we've blocked and buried and deal with it, that will help us get well. Another possibility is projection. And I'd use the word a little differently than Freud. He suggested, talking about defense mechanisms, that we imagined in others what we couldn't face in ourselves. Most of us don't do that. We find someone else who will do what we can't let ourselves do. And the more we don't do it, the more they overdo it till it finally gets uncomfortable. And if we do a little more ourselves, we can handle that one. Instead of going way down on the seesaw and having someone else go way up, we learn to balance the seesaw, do our share. Then there's also displacement, doing one of the 12 sides of life where it doesn't fit, doesn't work very well. Of course, that can be changed if we realize that's been happening. And sometimes excesses are a problem. We may be overdoing parts of life. Sometimes there are deficiencies, areas we've neglected that we have to work harder to learn to handle. But in general, I look for those kinds of potentials in the chart. But again, always it's up to the person who's handling these potentials. They are creating their own life. It's not something out there in the sky that's doing it to them. Another way of saying it is the universe is an echo. It throws back at us more of whatever we're doing. If we're loving, it gives us love. If we're angry, it puts in more anger, stirs us up further. So it's up to us to put out there what we would like to have come back from the world. The initial